And okay. All right. So I've been getting lots and lots of questions about peptides. The biggest questions I'm getting are, what is a research peptide? A research peptide is a peptide that has not been approved by the FDA. So that's kind of what it is. Semaglutide and tirzepatide were research peptides until the FDA approved them, and then once the FDA approved them and gave over the patents to Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk, they went from like $200 a month to $1,300 a month. So that's kind of one of those points. The funny thing is that they used to make BPC 157 at a compounding pharmacy I work with, and then they stopped. And I asked the guy, I was like, why can we not make this anymore? And he said the FDA came out and said that BPC 157 doesn't work. It doesn't help heal. It doesn't help reduce pain. It doesn't really do anything, and that the claims are all lies, which I think is funny because my nurse practitioner, for example, got off all of her arthritis medications and just used that, which would save her thousands of dollars a month, which maybe that's the reason that it really got pulled off the market. I mean, who knows? So that's kind of the difference between research and FDA approved, which if FDA approval is important to you, fantastic. I mean, the FDA is the same people who said that opium wasn't addictive as long as it was sold, through them, the opioid epidemic. They still tell you that the COVID vaccine is both safe and effective, but now it cures cancer, according to the FDA as well. And they also told you that standing 6 feet apart was going to keep viruses away, and wearing paper masks with giant gaps will stop viruses. So, I mean, kind of go with the FDA approval, however you feel fit. So the other one is, are they safe? It depends on what your definition of safe is. One of the things that people normally will see is injection site inflammation, little bruising, things like that. Usually they'll be like, hey, I'm getting these little red bumps, or I'm getting a little bruising, and that's problematic. Okay, that's generally the worst of it. We've had some people who felt nauseous and stuff like that after it, and this is just what's being pulled off on the internet and what everybody's talking about. I will tell you, there's probably a risk for someone out there of significant reaction because these things are powerful. We need to make sure we don't confuse powerful with dangerous. The issue we get into, for instance, like let's go back to semaglutide because that's the peptide people know the most, also known as Ozempic. We looked at, people are like, oh, there's lots of muscle loss. There's cholecystitis. There's liver issues. There's, all these different things. Most of those things were due to dose issues, and the people who are using them, the providers who were using them and selling them, didn't understand what was going on and didn't give the proper liver support, protein support, exercise instruction, growth hormone adjuncts. You can use real growth hormone, the synthetic growth hormone. You can use CJC 1295. You can use Samorelin. You can use Ipamorelin. You can use Tesamorelin to increase the regeneration and healing of the tissue. You can use testosterone. They didn't use any of those things. They just said, here's a bunch of this. Take a bunch of it. Good luck. And so people had problems. So again, they're not. Danger implies the way that they're used. And so, if you use them safely and properly, and you watch your dose and you monitor it, and you work with somebody, you do your labs and all those things, you're going to minimize your risk significantly. So keep that in mind as far as, are they safe? Do they work? Well, here's the thing. It's illegal to talk about if they work or not. So I'm not going to tell you if they work or not. I'm going to tell you what I have read on the internet, because that's how we're going to do this right now. So according to the internet, not me, I'm not making any claims. This is the internet. We've had people who've lost lots of weight, which, well, I guess we can tell that one because that once the FDA approve it, all the claims become all the internet claims, all the stuff. Once it becomes FDA approved, they're all valid, and you can talk about them. So, like the peptides, like semaglutide and tirzepatide, they have significantly helped with diabetes, with fat loss, with resetting metabolic function. They've been fantastic. That, in my opinion, they're not the best option that is available. They might be the best option that is FDA approved at the moment, but they're not the best option available. Samorelin is, I can't remember if Samorelin has been FDA approved. Tesamorelin has been in some instances. And testosterone does increase growth hormone. We've seen studies in like the long bones of children. By giving them Samorelin, it helped increase growth hormone. That growth hormone helped them grow. So in research and in anecdotal online stuff, not claims by me, that has increased growth hormone and helps people, with growth, with muscle development, with healing and things like that, according to the internet and according to testosterone, which is FDA approved and we can say good things about. So that's where a lot of this is. A lot of the legality around it is basically around what can you say, what can you not say. Once the FDA has approved it, handed the patent to somebody else, all of the claims that everybody's talking about now go valid and you can legally talk about them. For instance, mentioning any benefit online will get Google to silence you and suppress your information. It'll crush your ads. It'll just pull your website off of the rankings. So you have to be very careful about what you say online because of the government mandated censorship. Think back to when people were talking about ivermectin and hyperbaric and quinine and hydroxychloroquine and all those things during COVID, getting their social media kicked offline and silenced and censored and all that fun jazz. Same thing is going on with peptides. The FDA keeps it from, you can't say anything positive about anything that's not a FDA approved drug without getting censored. So the biggest thing on peptides is that we can't really talk about them very much. So look at the forums and stuff like that and get with people who are using them. That's the biggest thing that I would tell you. A lot of people are saying that peptides are the future of healthcare. I disagree. From the research and from what people are saying online, no actual claim, peptides heal and peptides help regenerate tissue, and they help break type 2 diabetes and stuff like that. So all of those things make the pharmaceutical industry a giant amount of money. So I don't really think that they're going to roll out peptides unless they become biologics and they go from $200 a month to $1,300, $1,400 a month like we've seen with semaglutide. In that case, I do believe that the FDA will approve them, hand out the patents to whoever's in line next from the FDA, and we'll see a lot of their use. It's just that it'll be like the same type of thing. In Mexico they'd be $50, but here they're $5,000. So that type of an idea. So that's kind of where we sit with the peptides right now. If you guys have any other questions, I would get with people who use them a lot, who understand them, who know them, and talk to them privately about it. So if you guys have any other questions, I can't answer them because it's not legal, but you can talk to other people about it. Have a great